Welcome to another episode of the HoopsHype podcast. My name is Alex Kennedy, and joining me today is Erik Gundersen of LeBronWire.com. Erik, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Alex. Thanks for having me. Excited to be on.
Yeah, thank you for jumping on. I want to talk about LeBronWire.com first. We're going to get into the Cavaliers season and get into LeBron season, but let's start with this website that just launched. USA Today Sports Media Group launched a number of different NBA Wire sites as part of their network. They launched Rockets Wire, Celtics Wire, Warriors Wire, and then you also have Lonzo Wire and now LeBron Wire. What kind of content can readers expect to find at LeBron Wire throughout the year? And now that you've been doing it for a few weeks, what do you think of the experience so far?
I really am enjoying LeBronWire.com. I have never covered the Cavaliers in this way before, obviously being the big team the way they are. And LeBron, I followed his whole career since he was in high school. But to be covering them on a daily basis is really intriguing because they're one of the biggest teams in the league. So we're going to have everything that you need, LeBron related, Cavs related, anything related to the banana boat. I mean, we're going to be everywhere that there's LeBron news, which is a lot of places. So we'll have tons of stuff for you on LeBronWire.com. It's been fun. It's been really a great time getting to be into the LeBron experience. I mean, there's never a dull moment with LeBron, and it's pretty fun. It keeps things fresh, and it's been pretty fun. There was some news today. They're going to start Jay Crowder. Kevin Love probably going to start at center. And so we'll have all that stuff too. We'll have off-court stuff, but then we'll also have analysis. I was a beat writer for a few years. I and watch a lot of film as well. So I feel like I have a pretty good grasp of the game. And so we'll do lots of analysis, lots of, and just news as well, just to have everything covered on the LeBron front.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool seeing the way that you've kind of covered it because you have fun with it. You have, a post about all the players reviewing Dwayne Wade's wine. You have a number of fun posts like that. LeBron talking about, being excited for Stranger Things and other TV shows that are coming up back soon. But then you also can go and, have the deep dive analysis, breaking down why Jay Crowder is great starting at power forward for this team, breaking down who should be the starting shooting guard, Dwayne Wade or J.R. Smith. I think you're unique in the fact that you're well-rounded enough to cover this team from all angles. And it seems like, really all year long, you're going to be able to find content on LeBron Wire that focuses on, you cover all these stories from a LeBron-centric angle. So, whether it's Jay Crowder starting, how does that affect not only the Cavs, but specifically LeBron? Dwayne Wade coming back, what does LeBron think about that? And how could that make LeBron even better? How does that affect his future? It seems like really that's kind of what this site is a LeBron-centric site. So it's going to be interesting to see all year long because, like you mentioned, LeBron makes headlines every single day. He's very outspoken. And obviously with his play, he's going to be relevant for years to come still. So it's very interesting to see, this site spin up that focuses all on LeBron. I want to shift to him being outspoken because you wrote a post about that whenever you introduced the website and you first launched it, talking about how, you could make the argument that LeBron is the most powerful or influential athlete maybe since Muhammad Ali, when you factor in his fame and the fact that he does go out and speak on a number of issues. A guy like Michael Jordan, famously didn't really speak on politics and polarizing issues, but LeBron has not been someone that's going to, hold things back. He has been very active politically and socially. He's been, definitely an activist, I would say. What do you make of that new kind of, because earlier in LeBron's career, obviously he was a lot younger. He didn't really do that. What do you make of this shift in recent years?
It's really just a testament to his evolution as a man, as a public figure. He's really grown, and I think I first really remember him, back when he was in Miami when Trayvon Martin happened, and
right.
He started, taking more public stances in that way. And he's been doing it even more now, trying to, he called out the president, called him a bum for the whole Warriors thing, which he said was, he was trying to use sports, to divide people. And LeBron on the record loves sports, has literally said he will die for sports. Like he loves sports, and but also like even other things too. Just he speaks out on a lot of issues and things that are going on in the country, whether it's Charlottesville or Trump or even the tragedy that happened today in Las Vegas. He is always willing to put himself out there, and I think for all he's gone through, like where he became kind of public enemy number one for a little bit, then he came back and people loved him again. And I think all of that, putting him through that, has now just made him so incredibly comfortable with the spotlight and with the microphone in his face to say things and he doesn't just tweet or do these things. He goes and tries to explain where he's coming from and talks about the impact that it has on society for all these things. And he's not just spouting off like one line things. Like he's talking about real things in a real way that you have to listen to and kind of digest. And I think that is one of the really interesting things about LeBron, is that he's not just an athlete talking about current events. He's an athlete that is the best player in his league, that is not only talking about these things, but he's talking about them with conviction and with like real content in his statements. Like he's not just saying
very
nothing.
Informed. Yeah,
he's very informed. Like he actually learns about this stuff and talks about it from a place of knowing things.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't just say things to say them. Whenever he does, take a stand on something, or he's willing to talk about something, he's educated and clearly has an opinion on it that he wants to get across, and use his voice, his powerful voice, to kind of affect change. So it's been really interesting watching that evolution in recent years. You mentioned him being the best player in the NBA. I want to talk about that because, LeBron obviously has a lot of wear and tear on his body. He's played so many seasons now. He's turning 33 years old in December. How much longer do you think he can be the best player in the NBA and play at this dominant level? People are obviously focused on his future when it comes to free agency and things like that. But I think also Father Time, the battle with Father Time, is going to be something that people are talking about over the next few years. How much longer with his style of play and, everything that you kind of know about LeBron, how much longer can he keep this up?
It's going to be hard. I think because he's such, you mentioned the wear and tear, but he also spends an incredible amount of time and money, with trainers and trying to do new things with his body and hyperbaric chambers and all this stuff. And he ices every day and all this stuff, that he's taken really great care of his body. And, I think he can play at this level for about 2 to 3 more years. And then I think it will start to decline a little bit after that. And I do think that, maybe after this season, he maybe is no longer, maybe the next 2 seasons, he probably fades out of being the unquestioned best player, in my opinion. But I do think that he'll really he still has a couple of, I think, MVP caliber seasons in the tank. And I think, one of the things that I think about, that I'm going to write about on LeBron Wire this week is, I think this might be his last best chance to be the MVP, because I think not only because of his talent and how much time he's got left, but I just think the narrative will come around to him around that time. I think he has a really good chance, especially if they finish first in the East and do really well without Kyrie. I mean, I think this is really the year where he has a great chance to be the MVP.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Kyrie leaving actually helps him, because you're going to have LeBron not only have the ball in his hands more, but I think anytime you're on a super team or you have multiple star players, I think those votes, kind of players cancel each other out in terms of voting. And I think you're going to see that in Oklahoma City with Russell Westbrook not getting as many votes now that he has Paul George and he has Carmelo Anthony. Obviously, Golden State, that happened last year where, Kevin Durant and Steph Curry were competing for votes. Kawhi Leonard is going to be a guy that's going to be in the mix too, because he obviously will be the man in San Antonio, but it's going to be hard because the Western Conference is so loaded. San Antonio could be the 4 seed, and it's very hard to be MVP when you're 4 seed. So I agree with you. I think LeBron could put up the numbers to do it. He had an amazing year last year. I feel like people, because Russell Westbrook averaged a triple-double and James Harden played so well, we don't focus enough on LeBron's amazing season. He shot the ball extremely well from the field, shot the ball well from three. He rebounded and passed better than he ever has before. He was so efficient. His season was phenomenal, and I didn't get enough attention. But this year, I think with Kyrie gone, he'll be, playing the role of ball handler more. And I think it's gonna be really interesting to see what he can do with this core. I want to talk about the core for a bit now. What do you make of the changes to this team? Obviously, Isaiah Thomas is brought in, but he has the hip injury, so he's sidelined right now. They also bring in Jay Crowder, who's going to be a starter for them. Kevin Love moves to the center position. Derrick Rose was brought in. Dwayne Wade was brought in. Is this team better than last year? Did they take a step back? What are your thoughts on this team? It's still very early, but so far from what you've seen.
I think they have the potential to be better just because I think back to the point we just talked about, I think LeBron is going to come into this season with an MVP mindset. He's going to be fresh. I think, he's still got plenty of basketball left in him, and I think he's going to be playing at a really high level. And I think that the roster, the way they've kind of fit the roster around him, I think will give LeBron will give LeBron's gifts even more light to shine on those. I think that he will be able to elevate guys even more. I think the Crowder thing is huge. I think Crowder starting is going to be great for LeBron. I think having him take that 4 position on the defensive end where I think it's most important for LeBron so that LeBron doesn't have to bang around with guys on a nightly basis. I think Crowder can take that and then also create space on the floor. I think that's going to be really good for them. I think they have I think they have a really good chance to have a better record this year than they did last year. Only 51 wins. I think they as good as Boston is, and as loaded as they are, I think Cleveland has a very good chance to be the 1 seed in the East, and I think I can see that with them. And so I think where they're probably going to miss Kyrie the most is in the playoff setting. I think in the finals specifically, because that's really when I think he really made a difference. But I also think that the versatility, the defense, the added scoring with Isaiah Thomas. Derrick Rose was productive last year, if not efficient. And Dwayne Wade also, I think, can find a little more bounce in his step by playing with LeBron. I think, and the other thing too is he knows how to play with LeBron. There's no adjustment period for him. Mostly with new additions, you have to wonder, how are they going to fit? How are they going to play together? There probably isn't going to be that much, buffering time, so to speak, for Wade and LeBron to get that connection back together. And I think Wade sharing the floor with him is going to be great. You get a full year with Kyle Korver on the team. And I really think that they're going to be solid. And I think that they have a very good chance to win the East with the first seed and really rack up some more wins this year. I really think that that's in the cards for the Cavs without Kyrie.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to Isaiah Thomas and his health. If he can come back sooner than later, that's obviously huge for this team. He was a guy that was so good last year for the Boston Celtics, and I think he'll play a very different role this year than he did with the Celtics last year, just because of, you're on a team with LeBron and he has more weapons around him. But, he's been effective everywhere he's went, really. Boston's where he really broke out, but he's been able to make a big impact on every single team. So I'm excited to see what he can do in Cleveland, and I'm hoping he's healthy sooner than later. I want to talk about this team's potential to win a championship, because we talked about whether they can compete with the Boston Celtics and how good this team can be. You mentioned that they could be the number 1 seed, but do you think they have a legitimate chance to compete with the Golden State Warriors? Let's say they do advance past Boston and make it to the finals again for another rematch, and it's Golden State. The Warriors obviously are loaded. They bring back their entire core. They're going to have more chemistry, more time under Steve Kerr, especially for Durant, who was playing his first year under Kerr last year. This team's going to be coming together for the second year, and then you have additions like Nick Young, Omri Caspi, that seem like they're only going to make this team better from long distance. Can this Cavs team beat the Warriors, or do they need the Warriors to have an injury or stumble a bit to have a shot?
Yeah, I think an injury would definitely help their chances. Like, I don't mean to sound, but the finals were a little bit closer, I think, though, than maybe the final score of the series led on.
Yeah.
If Kyle Korver makes that shot in game 3, you're talking about a 2-2 series heading back to Golden State instead of 3-1. And I think with LeBron, you're never out of it. And I think even though the Warriors are so loaded and so stacked, I think what the Cavs did to revamp their lineup around LeBron really will give LeBron more. He'll be able to shine more, like I said earlier. And I really do think that ultimately will raise their ceiling, because I think one of the things that we know about the NBA now, obviously you having multiple stars is great, but I think you're only as great as your best guy. And I think if they can elevate together what LeBron can do, I think that can elevate them as a whole. And then I think you're talking about, really having a chance there. And like we've said before, this is probably one of LeBron's final hurrahs. Like, I think this could be a really vintage moment for him. And I can't, as great as the Warriors are, and as favored as they are, and as loaded as they are and reloaded as they are, I think LeBron still being on the team and being there, I think, is huge. And then also, one other factor which we don't know about yet, which it seems unlikely at this point that they'll trade it, but they do have that Brooklyn pick. And this is the last year that the lottery is going to be weighed heavier to the worst team in the league. If Brooklyn is really bad and they see an opportunity to get someone else to add against the Warriors, I don't think that that's out of the question either. And I think that would add even more to their chances. So I think they do have a chance. I mean, it's a puncher's chance, I got to say, honestly, because the Warriors are so loaded, but I don't think you can count on a team with LeBron.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if LeBron's on the court, it's hard to count that team out. And like you said, they have assets to go make other big moves, and they're always going to be a destination for veterans that are bought out. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do to improve this team. I want to throw this at you because it's something that I've seen speculated about, and it's interesting. Obviously, LeBron's not going to be able to be this dominant of a player for forever. He's going to come back down to earth a little bit, but I think even an average or LeBron playing at a lower level is still better than most players of the NBA. He has the skill set to transition into a really dominant player even when he's not a superstar. Let's say he's 36, 37 years old, he's still going to be a great passer. He'll still have that great basketball IQ. Barring injury, he's still going to be a very good player. Now, I bring all this up because LeBron James Jr. is 12 years old, and I've heard questions about this. Could we see LeBron try to hold on and play till he's 40 years old and potentially play with his son? Could you see that happening? I don't know if it's something that he's ever discussed on the record. I've just seen speculation about it. But obviously, you have the Ken Griffey Jr. kind of storyline there, or precedent there. Could you see LeBron doing that?
I can, with what we talked about, with how much time he spends icing his body every single day, stretching, doing all this stuff. He's really he lost a bunch of weight. I mean, he's taken all this extremely serious. And I think even if he won't talk about it, I think that that's probably something in the back of his mind that, he has an opportunity. I mean, in the NBA, I think it's pretty much unheard of to have two guys, a father and son combo, playing on the same team. So I think, and LeBron being such a family guy that he is too, like, I think he also wants to do that. And obviously he's very supportive of their basketball dreams. So I think if he can do that and hold on till he's 40, if anybody can do it, I think it's LeBron.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he'll be able to contribute at that point still. He'll find a way to contribute.
Totally.
So it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, we're assuming a lot too. We don't know if LeBron James Jr. will be an NBA player. He's 12 years old. Obviously, Michael Jordan had, a number of kids, and none of them went to the NBA. They played college basketball, but we don't know what LeBron James Jr. is going to be. But I just had to throw it out there because I've seen some speculation. If LeBron James Jr. can get to that point, what will LeBron do? Speaking of what LeBron will do, I want to talk about his free agency because you wrote a great post about it on LeBronWire.com, saying that he's approaching this with a business-like perspective. And, he's never going to be someone that talks about his free agency. He's not going to let that be a distraction, because he is focused on winning a championship and making sure this Cavs team is as good as possible. But what do you think of his future? Do you think he resigns and stays in Cleveland? Do you think he goes and looks at some of these other contenders out there? Does he go to a big market like Los Angeles? I guess right now, what would you say is your favorite to land LeBron, and then your runner up or your second favorite?
Man, that's tough. I got three teams in mind. I'm just gonna say all three. I think right now, I think Cleveland is still, to me, the leader in the clubhouse, just because he's there. I think that's why I have Cleveland as the leader in the clubhouse. The Lakers are the most talked about pick, that they because of the market. Also, there's the potential there if Lonzo Ball is performs the way that people expect him to and really is that kind of transcendent talent. Then you have Magic Johnson there. They could sign another max free agent. So that's a really enticing option as well. I think the Lakers and as well Savannah and LeBron were touring schools in LA a couple of weeks ago. So it seems like there's something happening there, and LeBron has a home there. He has a production company based out of LA that he's heavily involved with TV shows and all that stuff. And then I think one other team that I think jumps into the mix, at least for me, after last week's news that Russell Westbrook is going to be a free agent, is Oklahoma City. It seems weird, but they're going to have a ton of cap room, presumably if Carmelo Anthony leaves. And I think LeBron going to Oklahoma City would be pretty wild. It would be unexpected. It's not the market, but if Russell Westbrook is still there and still playing at a high level, I wouldn't be surprised if LeBron did like a 1-2 year deal with Oklahoma City to try and win one, because LeBron is really interested in everything, right? He's in the entertainment, he's into all stuff. Like, LeBron's interested in everything, wants to do everything. And the business side and the market side for LA is huge. But let's not forget that when he went back to Cleveland, he was making a basketball decision too. The narrative about Northeast Ohio and coming home was all great in there, but Kyrie Irving was on the up and up. They probably had some kind of inkling they could get Kevin Love, and they were on their way up, whereas Chris Bosh and Wade at that time as star caliber players were on the back end of their primes. And I think if LeBron sees an opportunity to be more competitive, I think he's going to take that and attach himself to that, even if it's for a short-term deal with the team. Because if you're Oklahoma City, of course you do that. If LeBron wants to sign for 1 year, of course you do that. It's LeBron.
Yeah.
So
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think we'll see him look at the most talented teams, because, like you said, he's someone, I think he cares a lot about his legacy too. And at this point in his career, it's all about winning a championship. You can coast through the regular season. I don't think he cares as much about, individual accolades. I think he really wants to just get as many rings as he can. That's why he went to Miami in the first place. That's why he went back to this Cavs team that, had Kyrie and then a lot of young talent and, the ability to trade for Kevin Love. I think he'll look at, some of these teams, even if they are in a smaller market. I think he's seen that he can have a, global presence and be a superstar that has his hands in, the TV industry and in movies and all this different stuff, even when he's in a smaller market. So, he doesn't necessarily need to be in LA for that to happen. Maybe he does want to go there. Maybe he wants to learn from Magic Johnson. Maybe he looks at that Lakers team and all of a sudden, kind of looks at them the same way he did the Cavs, where they're, an up and coming team versus a team that's window is closing. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm very curious to see what he does. I agree that he'll probably sign a 1 or 2 year deal. That's kind of been his MO. Just, every year he wants to not only keep his options open in free agency, but I think he likes the power that comes with that. If you're locked into a 4 or 5 year deal, then, your team can basically say, okay, well, we have you under contract for the next 4 years. We don't really need to do what you say. When LeBron can opt out and threaten to leave every single year, he has the ability to, press an organization, and they have to keep, every move they make, whether it's an acquisition or, a decision to pay the luxury tax or not pay the luxury tax, you have to have LeBron's future in mind. And I think he likes that. Do you get that sense as well?
Absolutely, and I think it's another thing too, which was something I wrote about on about the leaked memo from the NBA that showed their finances and kind of illustrated the impact financially of LeBron. And I think that that's one of those. What's the biggest factor there too is because I think if you're LeBron and you say, hey, they have me for a 4 or 5 year deal, and you're the management, and you could say, oh, okay, well, we don't have to spend that much. We can just get all this profit, not spend a whole lot of money on salary or whatever, because we got LeBron and people are going to watch LeBron and we're just going to do that. But LeBron realizes the power that he has. And it's also, I think, the power and then also wanting to, with his team and the management of his team, to have a sense of urgency, make this team better, get me more help. And I think that is another factor into it, not just the power that he likes to hold from, just having that freedom, but also the power that he has to make his team better, to put the pressure on the front office and management to get the team better. I mean, I think that's another big factor is that, all right, well, if we don't make the team better, LeBron's going to leave.
What do you think of where LeBron kind of stands in fans' minds now? Because I think going back to Cleveland and then winning that championship over the Warriors in the fashion that he did really won a lot of people back over who maybe didn't like him from the Miami days. I think Golden State now is kind of viewed as the villain because they assembled a team that seems unbeatable, and these guys came together as a super team, and they're winning tons of games, and people don't like Draymond Green. They feel like Kevin Durant shouldn't have left Oklahoma City. I feel like now LeBron's kind of become a fan favorite again when he was hated for a while there. And that's been kind of interesting to watch as well.
Yeah, I really think it's kind of funny where we are with LeBron now, that I feel like everyone who's not a Warriors fan is on Team LeBron right now. I feel like everyone wants him to do well. I feel like even the Kyrie thing, I think LeBron ended up looking like the good one in that situation, because he seemed like the one who, when the whole thing happened, the one who wanted to help Kyrie, wanted to guide him along, and wanted to kind of shepherd him into the leader of the team, and Kyrie left. And now you have all these narratives of, the team, the monster team over to the West Coast, and then you have Kyrie, the rival, going to his biggest rival on the East Coast. And I really think that now everyone is, and also too, you got the Wade reunion with LeBron, which I think will bring back a lot of memories for people, even though the Heat at first were not everyone's favorite team. I think by the end of the Heat tenure, people really loved that team, loved that duo. And I think that's going to be really great. I think the sentiment on LeBron, I don't think has ever been higher. And not only the basketball stuff, but back to what we talked about with the stuff off the court, the social issues, the political issues that he speaks out on. I think people really gravitate towards that because he's not, I think in the age that we're in, I think people, expect more from everyone. And I think the fact that he's so multidimensional, almost, complicated, I think it is a good word too. I think he's just so nuanced, complex, has a lot of opinions, speaks out and speaks truth to power a lot of times too. I think is really something that has really, generated a lot of goodwill. And I think that's going to be here to stay for the most part.
Yeah, he's very real. And you like to see that from athletes and celebrities. It seems like you kind of know him almost, watching him and watching him, make comments and talk about these things. And yeah, it's polarizing. Some of his comments are going to rub people the wrong way because no one is going to have everyone agree with them when they're talking politics and activism and, racism and things like that. They're going to upset some people. But I think, like you said, it does kind of, I think a lot of people respect the fact that he's willing to take a stand. And I think also we really appreciate his greatness on the floor. There was a while where there was so much criticism about him, but now it's really hard to debate, his game and his legacy and, what he means to the game of basketball and how great he is. So I think now we're at the point where we're realizing there's only a few years left of this level of LeBron, and we need to, not take it for granted. We need to be able to appreciate it. So I think that's kind of where things have gone to. Mm-hmm. I want to end on this note. I look at this team, and I want to get your prediction on the upcoming season. We talked about how they match up with the Warriors, whether they can beat Boston. But, right now, if you had to predict, does this Cavs team go to the finals? Do they win a championship? And would you say right now LeBron James is your favorite to win MVP?
Okay. Let's go with, I think LeBron is going to win the MVP this year. I think that's going to happen. I think they will make the finals, and I think they'll show better in the finals. I'm not ready to say that they'll win the finals yet, but I think that they will show better in the finals. I think they'll get another win on Golden State at the very least, and push them more, because I think giving LeBron more energy, having Jay Crowder be able to guard Kevin Durant for stretches, letting LeBron kind of play that rover position on defense. I mean, I think the benefits of that are hard to quantify right now. I don't think we can know right now, but I think it's going to be probably better than some people expect. And I think that we're going to see LeBron elevate to another level, which sounds crazy. He's going to be 33, but I really do think that he can still elevate himself to another level. And I think, have one last great crack and against the Warriors, because the Warriors are going to be around for a while, it looks like. And I think, this is going to be a great chance for LeBron, as good a chance as he's got. So I think there's a very good chance. I think they'll give the Warriors a fight. Not ready to say they'll win, but I do think that they're going to have a great fight. And I just wanted to say one other thing on the legacy point. I think one of the other things that LeBron deserves a lot of credit for in his legacy is how we value, passing, playmaking, teamwork, and stuff like that. I know the Spurs get a lot of credit, but I feel like LeBron, the way the league is now, I feel like LeBron deserves a lot of credit for that, as well, as someone who's really gotten more fans to appreciate the team game and unselfishness and stuff like that. So I did want to make that point about LeBron before we wrapped up. But I think they're going to be great this season. I think LeBron's going to be the MVP.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I think also efficiency is the thing that he really helped usher in as well. Obviously the NBA was kind of heading that way with analytics and things like that. But in terms of, stars being efficient as possible, I remember a few years ago, Kevin Durant was talking about competing with LeBron and realizing I need to be more efficient and really paying attention to his PER and making sure that he shot the ball well and not taking too many shots. And I think guys value possessions more. And LeBron is certainly someone that, that does that. He's never been someone that's, going to attempt a ton of shots. He makes the right basketball play. And you're right. That's a big part of his legacy. I think also one other thing that, I've always respected about him, he's never been in trouble. And that's something that people, I think take for granted as well. He could be this person that has so many, demons and has had issues. If you think about it, he's really like a child star. You look at Hollywood and music, most of the time, whenever you're, anointed as the next great thing at 15, 16 years old, you struggle with a lot. You have so much, so many issues because you have so much pressure on you. You have fame and so many temptations, and there's so many things that can go wrong. He's never been in trouble. He's a great role model. If the worst thing you can say about this guy, at 32 years old is that he joined Miami and he did it on TV. Oh my God. And then had a pep rally essentially and was maybe disrespectful to other teams. The fact that there's nothing off the court, the fact that he has, been able to live up to the hype when the hype was, ridiculous when he came out of high school. And then the fact that now he is able to not only be great on the basketball court, but like you said, have the impact in the community and not be in trouble. That's huge to me. I don't think he could. I think it's another reason why his voice carries so much power, because he's not a guy out there, getting arrested and, doing dumb things and, alienating people. He's been the guy that is responsible, mature, a good father, a family man. And then, because of that, I think his voice carries more weight.
Totally. And I forgot to mention, his philanthropy. I mean, he is involved with kids in Akron, gets kids scholarships and really made a difference, because he wasn't just giving money away. He was like, okay, well, we need to start with the kids younger, because that's when it's really going to make a difference in their lives. And I think that's another reason why his voice carries so much weight, is because he's not only talking, he's doing.
Yeah, definitely. And this is all stuff that you're going to be able to find throughout the season on LeBronWire.com. Erik's going to do a great job of covering not only LeBron on the floor, but his, philanthropy, his activism, his off-court endeavors in terms of TV and businesses and things like that. And then also cover the Cavaliers too, because they're an interesting team with a lot of new faces, and we're all excited to see how they come together. Erik, thank you so much for joining me, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Alex. It was a blast.
Make sure you guys go check out LeBronWire.com. And if you want to listen to other episodes of the HoopsHype podcast, go check out HoopsHype, Audio Boom, Google Play, and Stitcher. Until next time, thanks for listening.